Eagles Nation, I hope you're all having an amazing Thursday afternoon. I hope your day has been filled with good health, peace, and plenty of success. And of course, I hope the excitement for another Philadelphia Eagles season keeps growing stronger every day. Before we get started, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't joined our community yet, and turn on notifications so you never miss any Eagles news, updates, and analysis. And I want to see everyone in the comments. Type Go Birds and let me know what city and country you're watching from today. Now, without wasting any time, let's get straight to the news. The very first practice of Philadelphia Eagles training camp has already revealed something that could completely change the identity of this offense. And it all starts with Jalen Hurts. One workout into camp, the quarterback looked noticeably different. The biggest impression wasn't simply that he was throwing the football well, it was the way he was moving. Hurts appeared quicker, lighter on his feet, more explosive, and far more agile than he looked a year ago. That immediately caught everyone's attention because one of the biggest conversations surrounding his game last season was the noticeable decline in his rushing explosiveness. The feeling around the team is that Hurts may have adjusted his body after realizing that his greatest strength is being a true dual-threat quarterback. Last season, his rushing production dropped significantly compared to previous years, and his mobility simply didn't have the same impact. Now, after arriving at training camp looking slimmer, the early signs suggest he wants to return to the version of himself that constantly put defenses under pressure with both his arm and his legs. It's only the first practice, but when your franchise quarterback looks faster before the season even begins, that's the kind of development every Eagles fan wants to hear. What made this even more encouraging was how comfortable Hurts looked operating inside the new offensive system. During the spring, there were understandable growing pains as players learned the new scheme, but the first day of training camp painted a much different picture. One of the biggest criticisms Hurts has faced over the years has been the idea that he struggles throwing over the middle of the field or operating consistently from under center. During this practice, those concerns didn't match what happened on the field. One of the standout plays came when Hurts lined up under center, dropped back, and fired a strike over the middle to Devonta Smith. The pass was delivered with excellent timing and accuracy, despite Quinyon Mitchell providing very tight coverage. It was a well-defended play, but Hurts trusted his receiver, placed the football perfectly, and Smith finished the reception. It was exactly the type of throw many people wanted to see from this offense. That wasn't an isolated moment either. Immediately afterward, Hurts connected once again over the middle, this time finding Dontavion Wicks on another impressive completion. Back-to-back plays showcased exactly what Eagles fans have been hoping to see. Rather than relying exclusively on outside throws or quarterback runs, this offense demonstrated an ability to attack the middle of the field with confidence and precision. Another detail that stood out throughout practice was how frequently Hurts lined up under center. This isn't a temporary experiment, it's becoming a defining characteristic of this offense. The Eagles showed similar looks during spring workouts, and now those concepts are carrying directly into training camp. With Sean Mannion designing and calling the offense, many of the principles associated with the Shanahan-McVay coaching tree are becoming much more visible. The very first offensive snap of training camp perfectly illustrated that direction. Hurts lined up under center before handing the ball to Saquon Barkley on a stretch toss, while the offense used 12 personnel with 2 tight ends. Dallas Goedert was on the field alongside Ty Montgomery, giving the offense a heavier look that could force defenses into difficult decisions before the snap. It wasn't just one play, it served as an early glimpse into what Eagles fans may see throughout the upcoming season. Veteran right tackle Lane Johnson also shared his thoughts about the new offensive system, and his comments were especially revealing. According to Lane, although the offense may appear extremely complex from a defensive perspective, it's actually much simpler for the players executing it. He explained that communication and cadence still require attention, but from an offensive line standpoint, the scheme is much friendlier than some of the systems he has played in previously. That combination of simplicity for the offense and confusion for opposing defenses is exactly what coaches strive to create. Saquon Barkley sounded equally excited about what this offense could unlock for his own game. He explained that the system creates numerous advantages because so many concepts connect together naturally. After studying the playbook and beginning to work within it, Barkley believes it can showcase parts of his game that haven't consistently consistently been on display during his NFL career. That's a significant statement considering everything Barkley has already accomplished. Even though he has faced this style of offense from the other side, he admitted this is his first opportunity to actually play within it, and he's eager to discover everything it can offer. Training camp also produced several other notable developments across the roster. Nick Sirianni confirmed that the backup quarterback position will be an open competition between Andy Dalton and Tanner McKee, instead of immediately naming a clear number 2 behind Hurts. The coaching staff plans to let both quarterbacks compete throughout camp. That battle instantly becomes one of the most interesting position competitions to monitor because every practice could influence the final decision. Elsewhere on the field, Darius Cooper delivered one of the biggest highlights of the day with an outstanding diving catch from Jalen Hurts. After earning attention during last year's camp and making the team as an undrafted free agent out of Charleston State, Cooper once again showed why he continues generating excitement. Every successful practice helps strengthen his case as he looks to build on the momentum he established previously. Another young player who drew praise was Cole Payton. His arm talent continued to stand out, displaying impressive touch on his throws. Despite being known for his athleticism and physical build, he demonstrated the ability to make a wide variety of passes during practice. Meanwhile, Zech McPherson also enjoyed an impressive day, continuing to build confidence heading into the season. Perhaps just as importantly, the defensive alignments continued evolving as well. Andrew Makuba and Marcus Epps worked together at safety, while Cooper DeJean mixed into defensive packages when the Eagles lined up in their base defense. Those combinations will certainly be worth watching as training camp continues, because they offer an early indication of how the coaching staff is evaluating different personnel groupings. After only one official practice, there's already plenty for Eagles fans to be excited about. A faster-looking Jalen Hurts, a more diverse offensive approach, increased usage of under-center formations, encouraging chemistry with Devonta Smith and Dontavion Wicks, enthusiastic reviews from both Lane Johnson and Saquon Barkley, and several intriguing competitions beginning to take shape across the roster all point toward a training camp that could answer many important questions before week 1 even arrives. But now, the biggest question belongs to the fans. After everything we've already seen from the very first day of training camp, do you believe this new offensive system can help Jalen Hurts return to his most dangerous dual threat form and take the Eagles offense to an even higher level this season? The excitement surrounding the offense wasn't the only storyline coming out of the first day of training camp. The Eagles also received an important update regarding one of their biggest offseason additions. Jonathan Greenard opened training camp on the physically unable to perform list, but it's important to understand exactly what that means. This is the preseason version of the PUP list, meaning he can be activated whenever the team determines he's ready. It is not the regular season designation that automatically sidelines a player for an extended period. According to the information shared, Greenard suffered a pectoral injury while lifting weights. Naturally, that raises some concern because he also underwent shoulder surgery earlier in the offseason. Since those areas are closely connected, Eagles fans immediately began wondering whether this could become something more serious. However, the organization does not expect this to develop into a long-term issue. Howie Roseman addressed the situation directly and expressed confidence in Greenard's preparation. He explained that while training camp practices are valuable for every player, Greenard's experience and professional approach give the organization confidence that he'll be ready when the regular season begins. Of course, everyone would still like to see him return to practice before week 1, because missing valuable repetitions is never ideal, but the overall message from the Eagles remains optimistic. Another major topic that generated plenty of discussion involved the future of the Eagles' young defensive core. Howie Roseman made it very clear that keeping these players together remains one of the organization's priorities. When discussing the team's recent draft classes, he sent perhaps the strongest message Eagles fans could hope to hear. Roseman essentially told fans that if they're wearing jerseys with the names of these young defensive stars on the back, the organization fully intends for those players to remain in Philadelphia for the long term. That's a significant statement because it reflects the philosophy that has helped build one of the league's strongest rosters. Rather than constantly replacing talented players, the Eagles want to reward those who develop into foundational pieces. That philosophy was reinforced by comments from Saquon Barkley. Speaking about the way Philadelphia operates, Barkley explained that this isn't how every NFL franchise handles its business. He said he tells younger players that if they perform well in Philadelphia, they'll be rewarded. Barkley even joked that if he ever has enough money to become a general manager or coach someday, he would want to run a team the same way the Eagles do because he appreciates the organization's approach to taking care of players who earn it. Those comments speak volumes about the culture inside the building. They suggest that players recognize when an organization consistently rewards performance, and that creates additional motivation throughout the locker room. Young players know there is a path to long-term security if they continue developing and producing on the field. The conversation naturally shifted to Jalen Carter, another player whose future generated significant attention. Roseman was asked about Carter's contract situation, and his response reflected tremendous confidence in the defensive star. According to Roseman, he has no concerns regarding Carter's off-field situation. Since arriving in Philadelphia, Carter has focused on his work, continued improving, and consistently made game-changing plays for the Eagles. Roseman also reminded everyone that Carter wasn't fully healthy last season, but continued fighting through those challenges to help the team. That willingness to compete despite not being at 100% clearly earned respect within the organization. Roseman also emphasized something that helps explain how the Eagles approach contract negotiations. He pointed out that players in their mid-20s are still growing both personally and professionally. He even recalled advice that Zach Bond shared with him after signing his